I'm going to be talking about how to make your company formidable with location independence. I've been doing it for 8 years, but before I get into that, I just wanted to kind of go over what MonetizeMore does in a more visual way because it's super abstract, kind of hard to understand the first time. So here's an example of one of our publishers, and we have a technology that runs an auction for AdSense publishers just like this. And this is an example of some of the advertisers that won the auction with our technology, and we choose the highest bidder, just kind of in a nutshell. And the idea of MonetizeMore was born in Machu Picchu. I was on a 5-month backpacking trip, having the time of my life. I trekked all the way top on Machu Picchu up there. I was looking at the view, and I was like, man, this has been the time of my life. I don't want to go back to a corporate job and just kind of start all over again. I want to continue this. I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to go where I want, when I want, and it kind of clicked for me. I got to start a digital business. All I need is a laptop and an internet connection, and I can totally do this. So fast forward to today, and we have 121 team members spread across the world. No office. The closest thing we got to that is the mailbox, and we're still pushing forward, hiring more people, and growing. So I wanted to talk today about the top 6 ways to take advantage of location independence so that it's an actual competitive advantage. The first one is borderless hiring. So obviously, we know that talent acquisition is very important, hiring the best people, like Fred was talking about. And we have these 2 options. You got MonetizeMore over here in the cliche digital nomad working on the beach. And then you have lovely Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario, one of our competitors. Which one would you rather work at? I think it's pretty easy. We have been able to convince some incredible talent to join our company because of this unique offering. We also have a company retreat once a year. So while I am vouching for location independence, you don't need an office to have a successful company, that in-person interaction is very important. So this one was in the Philippines in March, and it's a chance to kind of get together, have that important team bonding, have those non-day-to-day discussions, and have some fun. As you can see here, that's Echo, one of our developers who's showing off his skills. He doesn't just have developer skills, so he was killing it that night. Another important thing is to advocate location and schedule freedom. So this is a very unique offering that for some of our team members, it's changed their lives. They don't have to commute anymore. They don't have to worry about daycare. They travel the world while being career ambitious. And it's important to wear it on your sleeve. Be proud of it. Make it part of your brand strategy, your marketing. It's a very unique competitive advantage, and it's important that you actually advocate for it. Like any company, it's important to reward based on performance, but this is even more important for a virtual office. You don't have our team members don't have someone watching over their shoulders, making sure that they're actually doing work. We incentivize them via rewarding them via their key performance indicators. Each position has these important metrics that we track, and that goes for the team basis, the company basis, and they are rewarded when they are successful in maximizing or minimizing them. So this is really important. That's been a key driver for a lot of our team members. Another thing that's been successful for us is we've hired sales in our major markets. So for example, we hired a Brazilian to sell to some of our Brazilian leads that we haven't been able to convert to clients with our other salespeople that were from Canada and the US. So he came in, he started speaking to some of the Brazilian pubs, and he was able to convert them. He was speaking Portuguese, he knew the local cultural intricacies, and he was able to convert them and sell other Brazilian publishers. And all of a sudden, Brazil is a big market for us. So we've taken that and have been hiring and looking to hire more salespeople for specific strategic markets. And finally, committing to building a culture is also important for every company, but especially so for virtual offices. This is the glue that keeps your team together. When they're spread across the world, it's important that they're driving in the same direction, and a culture is a big part of this. This is how you build momentum within the team, and they don't have to be in person to really build this momentum. It's just important that you're purposeful and that you're thoughtful of the culture that you want to build. So we have a culture doc. We talk about our culture every time we make a promotion, every time that there's an issue with a team member, when we give raises. It's all based, it comes down to our culture. That's our main criteria. All right, thanks everyone.
Yeah, of course. I'm so sorry.
Thank you for your talk. The question about culture and about how you can keep people happy. We just discussed here, we're both digital nomads, location independent here. Sometimes it feels like you're crazy, you don't have friends, you don't have someone with the dog at the office. So at some point, like you don't feel like you belong to this company. And you talk now here that you build culture, but you have these retreats only once a year. How do you do it like on daily basis that people wake up and they feel like they belong to a company of 120 people?
It's definitely a challenge, and it's something that we're still working on. The company retreat definitely helps that. We also encourage people who are in the same city to meet in person. That in person is still important. To have things like video calls that kind of brings that human interaction even closer. And even when you're on Slack, like encouraging joking around, having that that hashtag funny in there, and just have people kind of have those non-day-to-day discussions. We find that with working remotely, when you're speaking to other people, you only talk about work, and that kind of takes the human aspect out of it. So when you encourage as a leadership to have those non-day-to-days, to joke around, and just to have to be humans around each other, it's really important, and it's something that we're working on, and that's been helpful for bringing people closer together in the team.
Good question. Sorry, I'm going to ask everyone to pass it down.
Thanks, man. Yeah, very inspiring. You've built a global business, basically.
Thank you.
It's impressive. I was just curious, like, when you got back from Machu Picchu, how did you decide what the focus was going to be, and, what market you were going to focus on from, like, a marketing standpoint with your company?
Yeah, it's a good question, because my why was pretty clear. This was the reason I wanted to set this lifestyle up for myself. So after Machu Picchu, I went to Colombia for a month more traveling. Then I came back to Canada, and I pretty much spent 6 months working on how to make my own websites, doing affiliate marketing to kind of come up with that idea. And then I came to a goal. I was going to increase revenues in a measurable way for businesses via digital means. And then, so you could do that via SEO, social media strategy, UI, UX, traffic acquisition, many different digital means. But then I decided to use my old employer as a case study. And my old employer is use.ca. For those of you who've been to Victoria, maybe you're familiar with usevictoria.com. It's like a Craigslist competitor. And I was their first marketing hire before I started the business. So I was like, okay, how can I increase the revenues? And then I realized the majority of the revenues come from Google AdSense. Google essentially had a monopoly over their ad inventory. So I was like, all right, based on simple economics, I can increase that. If the supply, being the traffic, stays the same, and the demand goes up, then the price of every ad impression goes up. So I had Google compete against AOL and Facebook and Amazon and Castelli, and it would be this auction that I would create, and that essentially increase the demand and increase the price. And when they have hundreds of millions of ad impressions, their ad revenues increased dramatically, and I was able to make them additional millions.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
I'll make my way over. There was one here, right? Sean.
Just a quick question about the KPIs that you use to incentivize your employees. Do you ever find any like gamification of the KPIs? Do you ever like kind of catch like the negative edge of basically paying people based on those reportable numbers?
So gamification, as in like kind of have some competition with each team members.
So if I'm measured on like number of calls that I complete per minute, if I just hang up on people and I complete a call.
Yeah, to totally game it.
So hopefully you haven't caught any yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, earmuffs. Any
Good.
employees
Yeah.
that are here? I can't. It's something to watch out for. But it's something we've thought about. We thought about some kind of KPIs and to financially incentivize within the dev team, because that's one of the toughest teams to really kind of quantify performance. And it's been a discussion with our CTO and CPO, and they pushed against it. They said, if you solely financially incentivize on KPIs, then you tend to lose out on the context. And I think that's completely valid, and I agreed with them. And we've stayed away from those KPIs. It's something's complex about the technology that our developers create. We don't want to lose out on the context. When you presented it, I was like, I know what OKRs are. I know it's just like KPIs. I just didn't know what it stood for. Yeah, for sure.
Just curious if you still have meetings, like more than 2 people, and if so, what's a virtual meeting look like?
We do. For the ones that I'm in, we have a design meeting every week. That's about 5 people, and we have an executive scrum every month, and that's 4 of us. And for the executive scrum, we do a video, and we make sure we have that kind of video interaction, and each of us kind of presents on our section of the company, and then our Q&A is usually the majority of the discussions, and we kind of have those high-level talks. And design, we don't do video. We should do more video, but we do have those multiple person meetings, and we try to keep them as efficient as possible by like doing a lot of pre-preparation before the meetings, because perhaps one of the things you were thinking about is how inefficient some of the meetings get, especially when you're in offices.
Agreed. Very inefficient. This was very efficient. Thank you so much. I think there was a few more questions. You want to throw your hands up? So if you want to approach him right away when we go into the after hours thing.
I'll be kicking around.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to grab that mic.